growing up. I was never interested in it for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not so great at, I shouldn't say not so great, I'm terrible at history. I never liked history as a child. And so when it comes to the state of the world, and you look at politics and history and where we are now and where we've been and where we're going, I'm probably pretty ignorant to all of that, very much so. But what I can say is that we spend, and there's actually, I shouldn't even say anything, there's downstairs, which I can show you later, on the wall, there's a Dalai Lama kind of little poem almost, and it addresses, I think, in the most beautiful way, an answer to your question. But my own personal view is, we're so worried about so many things so far outside of us, and we can't even smile at a person who walks by us on the street. We can't even walk across the street and say hello to somebody. Somebody drops something, we can't even stop and help them with it because we're too worried about where we're going. Somebody cuts us off in a car, we're too busy, honking at them, yelling at them, screaming at them because they're in our way. The state of the world, we need to worry about the state of our own mind individually. And so, my kind of answer to that always, because I stay away from history and politics for whatever reason, is that all I know for me is I try to work on my mind and my heart and my intentions. And I think if everybody does that same thing, then the state of the world is going to be much better. If I sit here and I point fingers at what that person should do and what that person should do and this country should do this and we should stop doing this, if I can't do it myself, why should I expect anybody else to do it? And I think if everybody took that approach, then I don't know, maybe we'd be a little bit better off.
I'm just blown
She got
away.
quiet.
I'm just blown away with everything that's being said. I mean, I'm speechless, and you know that usually doesn't happen.
Okay. Do you have any advice for people who might be watching this? Because this is going to get posted to the People's Post website.
Okay.
And so there will be a cross-section of people from, all over.
Yeah.
Especially because I made it.
That's crazy.
And it's going to be, like one of the best.
And you, yeah. Awesome.
So consider this your platform. This is your chance to speak to people all over San Diego, and then it gets put on YouTube, and then all over the world, people who are watching it. Is there anything that maybe we didn't cover that you think? I really wish that I could reach out and talk to that person or these people or the world in general. I wish I could just let them know these thoughts that I have, this message that I have for them.
Yeah. I think it's something that in a way I've already said, if not exactly, and or at least paraphrasing it. But to me, I just think every individual needs to find what they love to do with their life, and be passionate about what they do, and be sincere about what they do, and have the intentions to do something that isn't just to benefit yourself. And I think to me, the ultimate practice of wisdom and compassion is to have love for everybody around you, compassion for everybody around you, and to be wise enough to know that as soon as we are born, we're one step closer to being gone. And any moment that we spend in anger, any moment we spend in sadness, depression, misery, we're missing out on something right in front of us that is beautiful and perfect. And so to learn to control the mind, let go of anger, and just be peaceful. And within all of that, don't let the world tell you what you should do with your life. Do with your life what you want to do with your life. And always hoping that it benefits others. Yeah.
Now, going along with that, does that also mean vegetarian diet, celibacy?
Right. You want me to follow that up with a talk on? I am vegetarian. When I first took what's called the precepts, you take the first 5 precepts, or you take refuge in the Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dharma, Sangha, and then you take the 5 precepts of, in essence, no lying, no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, and then no use of drugs or alcohol. So when you take those precepts, and being a vegetarian, you stop eating meat, fish, chicken, anything that was, a sentient being, as they say in Buddhism, anything that has life, you don't support the killing of that. And so when you eat things that I just mentioned, in a way it's, indirectly supporting the killing of life. So, sex is always an interesting one because the Buddha was a monk, right? What's often overlooked in the Buddhist story is that he was a husband and a father prior to leaving home. And a lot of people miss this part of the story if they don't really know much about Buddhism, but he actually was a husband and a father. And he had a very, small child, and he left because he knew that they would grow up in a world of suffering. And I didn't get into the Buddhist story here, but he didn't want them to grow up in a world of suffering. He wanted them to be liberated, to be free from a world of suffering. So when he became a monk and he shaved his head and put on the robe, yes, he took a vow of celibacy. And then a part of being a monk or a nun in the Buddhist tradition is the same, that you take a vow of celibacy. Now, as Buddhism has made its way over 2,500 years, you have the monastic culture, and then you have lay Buddhists, right? Lay Buddhists, if you're a Buddhist, it doesn't mean that you can't have sex. It doesn't mean that, it just means understand what is your intention, right? If you are having sex, what is your intention with it, right? Is it with a committed partner that you love, or is it to satisfy the own ego, the own pride, the own sense of self? What is the intention behind this? We have what we call Dharma Bum groups at San Diego State, UCSD. San Diego State we've had for 3 years, we call them the Aztec Dharma Bums. UCSD we've had, this is our second year now with the Dharma Bum group, and we're starting one at USD here in San Diego also. And these are 18 to 20-year-old college kids. And I'm a Dharma Bum, I'm a lay Buddhist. And so if I walk in there and I'm talking with them about Buddhism, and I walk into a room full of 40 college kids about Buddhism, and I say to them, don't have sex, how do you think that's going to go over, right? Buddhism is not about having sex or not having sex. It's understanding what is your intention behind it, right? Same thing with the drugs or alcohol. What is your intention, right? And if your mind is, on drugs or intoxicated with alcohol, and if you're trying to reach a place within yourself that is like that water settled that I talked about earlier, and you're drunk or have taken drugs, you're not there. So it's only going to delay your point of clarity. So these are things, again, 2010 in America, to really look at with Buddhism, is we're not monks, but just be wise with our choices and understand karmically, and karma means action, that everything we think, everything we say, and everything we do, these are the 3 forms of karma as taught by the Buddha: body, speech, and mind. All of our thoughts, all of our speech, all of our action has an effect. The Buddha's enlightenment was based on that. He understood that everything we do has a causal relationship to it. And so we need to be very mindful and very careful. Normally we think, then we speak, and then we do. So the reason we meditate: still the body, simple. Sit still, don't move. Still the speech, very quiet. Just close the mouth, don't say anything. Then what are we left with? You're left with the mind. And that's what takes anywhere from a split second to many lifetimes to still.
The last thing that I can think of that I'd like to ask you is just if you could